Welcome to the Young and Pruitt podcast. This and every episode of the Young and Pruitt podcast is brought to you by youngandpruitt.com. If you haven't been over there, please go check it out. Be sure to follow us at Young and Pruitt on Twitter and Instagram. And today is a very special podcast because we actually have our first driver on. Today we have Spencer Davis. He is a NASCAR Next driver. He currently drives an ARCA car, a late model, modified, etc., etc., etc. So, where are you from, Bob?
From Dawsonville, Georgia, man.
That kind of explains how you got into racing, or at least got the thought of being a race car driver, being there with awesome Bill.
Yeah, man, more or less. You know, my dad actually raced from before the time I was born, probably since he was actually my age, like 18, I believe. And, you know, the bug got carried on from him to me, and you know, just one day I decided I wanted to go race too, and that kind of, you know, that was the nail in the head for Dad's career, but the start of mine.
So did you start with what, like a go-kart or a Legends car, or what'd you?
Yeah, I started out in dirt go-karts around the house, and actually, you know, at the end of my go-karting career, we were 48-time national champions, 600 wins, and, you know, traveled all across the U.S., so it got real big real quick.
Dang.
48 times.
How's that even possible?
Oh, well, I mean, you have 5 different major series you could run in, and, you know, around 3 to 4 classes in each series. So you kind of break it down into that, and, you know, it's the hard work and preparation too. So, and a lot of time, a lot of missed school days go into all of that. So that's kind of how it was all possible.
Did you ever sweep all the classes you ran in one year?
Yeah, actually a couple times I was lucky enough to do that, but you know, it is a bunch of stiff competition. You know, everyone was there on their A game, so it was a little bit hard.
Sure. That's an awesome shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna have to go up on the Instagram.
No one's looking at this, so you got to say what it is.
So we have a Woody Pitcat T-shirt with the Toy Story figures of Woody and Buzz Lightyear. With a checkered flag. It's pretty fantastic.
Funny deal about this too, man, is his car owner's name was Buzz Chew, so they were the dynamic duo, you know, Buzz and Woody.
I like got it. Okay, that makes sense. So you're in an ARCA car now. You race for Venturini, right?
Yep.
How you liking it being in an ARCA car?
It's fun. You know, it was definitely another step in the career, which is always nice. And, you know, we unloaded at Talladega and got actually my career high in ARCA so far, 3rd place finish. Almost beat out Justin Haley for the win. Just need a little bit more skill in the chess match at super speedways. But it's been a fun year. You know, it's actually been a real up and down year in my ARCA debut in the series. And, but yeah, man, just overall real fun racing all those big tracks.
Mm-hmm. And your K&N career that you were in last year, that got pretty crazy. Your stats are kind of skewed because you kind of got wrecked late a bunch.
Yeah, man. The K&N deal is kind of, you know, my stats are kind of muffled a little bit from running a family car that was real old, and then, you know, starting parking for different teams. Well, I say starting parking, you know, just jumping in for different teams after I lost my main ride. And just trying to finish out the year. So, you know, it's like we had a real good average, and then it's, you know, it's kind of like the start market. It dropped real quick, and then, you know, we had spikes at the end of the year where we run good with different teams. But last year was rough at the end of the year, that's for sure.
Growing up in Dawsonville, is there like statues of Bill Elliott everywhere?
No, you would think there would be. And, you know, you think there would be you know, at 9 o'clock at night, you think there'd be a Bill Elliott, you know, a praise time where there should be silence, but no, this
at 9,
yeah, 9 o'clock, 9:09. But no, there's, you know, you definitely Bill's the main guy around there. That's for sure. You know, if there's a road, it's most likely an Elliott Road or a Bill Elliott Road, and then if there's a street mural or something, it definitely has the 9 Coors Light car on it, and majority of it's definitely Bill or the Elliott name there, though. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely very well recognized in the community.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of stuff did your dad race?
He raced, he started out in street stocks, mini stocks. Mm-hmm. Started out in mini stocks, and, you know, then he just started working his way up. He actually worked at a machine shop at Grant Carburetors or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but then he started building his own engine so he could run super and pro late models like I'm running now. And towards the end of his career, he ran a Hooters Pro Cup and ARCA. Actually, my ARCA stats are a little bit better than his already. So, I think he has one pole and maybe a couple top tens, but kind of a family run deal. It's kind of hard to compete with the Venturinis and the real big name teams, but he wasn't that bad. But the bad part is you can't find his stats anywhere because they didn't have racing reference then. So, it's kind of hearsay from him. So I don't know if he beefs them up or not.
Fishing stories.
Yep, exactly.
How often are you between here and Dawsonville?
I would say about 80-20, 80% up here trying to chase the dream and 20% back home to just, go back home, see the family and just, try not to, I guess, lose that hometown connection.
Yeah, my mom and family still live in Winston-Salem, so I do about 3 weekends here and 1 weekend home, just same reasons. Stay connected, not be a stranger.
I understand that one, man.
So if you had like a realistic map you could draw out as to like how your stock car racing career would be, what would that kind of look like over the next couple of years?
I say up until this point, if I were to have drawn a map when I was 5 when I started racing, so far I think it's good. But from here, I would definitely at the end of this year I'd like to see stuff start to come together for an ARCA season for next year, and then after that ARCA season, I would love to do trucks for a year and a half, then jump into nationwide for a year or two, and then then ultimately Cup. But the main deal is just don't rush it. Has kind of been my whole theory since I've started racing. Just don't rush nothing. You don't want to get your shot too early and ruin it, more or less.
So you're just kind of taking it one race at a time.
Yeah, more or less one race at a time. And I just don't want to be that kid who dominated one thing, then moved up too soon, and then kind of the case of like Joey when he first started. Just wrecking every weekend and kind of just you tarnish your name that way. Mm-hmm. Definitely don't want to do that. Yeah,
he did have that kind of mid to backpack stick, to him for a long time, and then he kind of signed that Penske deal, and all of a sudden it's like Joey Logano could go out and get the championship.
Yeah, but I mean, he was 18 going in Tony Stewart's car.
Can you believe he's a veteran and he's like mid-20s?
Yeah,
like 10-year veteran almost.
Like he's gonna be around for a long old time, and he's only gonna be that much more experienced.
Cup Series is getting like very young. It's strange. This is like the first time you've seen like an extremely young group just kind of taking over the whole. You had Gordon come in and kind of shake things up.
Yeah,
and then Logano came in and
JJ before that, Kyle.
Yeah,
all those guys.
But now you have a bunch of those guys in at once.
Yeah, this is a massive turnover year. I mean, hell, Denny Hamlin's going to be the veteran at Gibbs.
That's pretty crazy. This is working out pretty good for you so far.
Yeah.
This youth movement, they might be calling you next week.
No way.
But I mean, it's got to be tight, right? I mean, because every kid wants to be a race car driver, right? Like, how hard do you find it competing for seats?
Well, you look at it this way. There's 43 spots at the top. I think there's, 38 in the nationwide is all you can start, something like that, 36, 38. And then same in trucks. So you have, a little bit over 100 spots in the top 3 series. And, you go to the Snowball Derby, which is the most prestigious short track race ever. And, I mean, there's just 100 kids there in that deal trying to make that race. So, and I know there's a bunch of people don't go. So there's, I think I could say well over 100-1 odds in getting just a seat in any of the series. So it's tough. Every time you go to the track, you got to hold yourself to a real high standard in order to, you just don't want to do one thing wrong. Even if it's a bad day at the track, you don't want to even look bad in the, out of the seat in media's eyes and everything else. So it's definitely, you got to really, really be careful in your steps of what you do on social media, how you act, outside the sit, you go eat lunch, anything that you could do could definitely hurt your chances. Not just, you might be the best driver there ever was or going to be in this era. You could be the next Jimmy Johnson, but, if you go out and party every night and you always get pictures of, underage drinking or something, that could be another thing that doesn't put you in the seat more or less. So, it's tough. If you want to go to the next level, you got to literally eat, sleep, and breathe racing and that conscience of racing all the time. So it takes a toll on you, but if you have the fever or the bug for racing, it's no big deal.
PR rep's dream right there. You don't have to clean up anything. You probably don't even need a PR rep.
Oh man, I've been doing my own PR for a while, so I've kind of seen the do's and don'ts through friends that have been in and out of racing, and just being around racing so long and being able to talk to PR guys, have kind of picked up on certain things. So, but having a PR guy is nice, or a PR woman, either way, they're nice too. So,
which would you prefer?
Not gonna lie, I like PR ladies. It's a little bit better. They seem to
Fair.
They have that mom nature to them once they get at the track, so you kind of feel like you have a mom there.
Very true.
Are you actively searching sponsorship right now?
Yeah, man. It's like I'll go home at night and I'll work in the race shop all day on our super late model stuff, or go into meetings at Venturini Motorsports, or on the phone with a guy I race K&N cars for. And then I'll go home and work on my decal business and just stay up all night looking for sponsorship as late as I can stay up, just sending emails, making connections and everything, and just, trying to get my name out there. You don't ever know. I mean, right now I think it's 1,000 no's and one maybe, but you're looking for that one yes. So, a million emails and one yes is all you need. So, all those years of looking, man, you're looking for that one break.
It's definitely not easy. It's not easy at any level.
No.
You're always selling what value you can bring, and then you have to hope somebody understands that, hope somebody's a fan of racing, sell yourself, which goes into everything he was just talking about, where you just create your own brand to be, known as a positive person who can represent your brand well. So there's so much that goes into it.
So how would you describe your driving style? Who do you try to be like the most?
Well, I guess on the Cup side, if I was going to try to be like someone, I'd try to be like Jimmy Johnson, because he's aggressive at the right point in time, but you don't see him as a Kyle Busch overly aggressive, where he's going to go and just flat out move you, or tear the driver's side off your car when he passes you if he has to. But I grew up watching short track racing, and the guy who I truly wanted to be like, and unfortunately he's not here no more, is Ted Christopher. Man, that guy does whatever he's gonna take to win. It was his motto. It's like if he had a 6th place car and you get a late race restart, he's gonna find his way to the bottom and he's gonna make his way to the front. So it's kind of, they're both kind of two totally different driver styles. But if I was a Sunday driver, I definitely want to be a Jimmy Johnson. But finishing second, unfortunately, on a young kid's career doesn't get you nowhere when all they talk about is the winner. So, I want that mentality of Ted Christopher, just real hungry, do whatever it takes up until then.
Yeah, so you're just kind of like a prize fighter. You're only as good as your last fight. You got to go out there and not only just win the fight, you also have to finish it. You have to go out there and win in dominating fashion and really, quote, quote, put on a show for everyone and show that you're here to stay.
Yep, more or less, because, you could lead 399 out of 400 laps in a big race and finish second. And, you might get one little short column in the article, and all you hear about for the next 2 months is the guy who won, who beat you on that last lap. So, just as long as, I say as long as you don't make a bad name for yourself, being aggressive and getting that win is definitely a positive, as long as you're getting talked about. Because when you're not getting talked about, you're not getting talked about up top or in the office at at that next level.
What would you say the highlight of your career so far is, other than dominating go-karts?
Dominating go-karts is always kind of a fallback deal. But highlight of my career would be, I guess, my K&N win last year at Dominion. When we started out in 2015 with our 5-race deal with NTS, we came in strong. Debuted in the series, almost had a career high of third, or not a career high, a starting out point of third, finished 6th, And just from then on out, I never finished outside the top 5 up until I actually won my first race at Dominion. We've been so close my first season, first 5 races in that series. And then when I came back the next year to run for points, I was literally one foot away from getting my first win in the first start of the season. Actually wound up with a destroyed race car. I think Zach remembers.
Yep.
But, then we went and finished. I think we finished second 4 times in a row to start the 2016 season. And, we went to VIR, had a little bit of bad luck, but then we rebounded at Dominion, and we led the last 10 laps and won by .048, and I think I was the closest in K&N history.
Yeah, so, it looks like he lost. My buddy is on his team, and he sent me the picture, and I was like, oh, man. He's like, no, we won. I'm like, what?
It's good timing. Do you do any driving outside of stock cars?
A little bit. It's like I'll go to GoPro and just get some road course seat time and more or less have fun. I'll go with the crew guys and we'll all beat and bang a little bit, have fun, and see who who's the king of the shop for that week. And I also do some iRacing, a whole lot of iRacing. That's my other pastime when I find a free second from the busy racer's life. But no really sports car racing or anything other than that. Just I'm strictly oval.
Is there that big of a gain from the iRacing side? That's basically just like a simulator?
A lot cheaper to fix.
Yeah. But are you getting a lot of information from that? Are you getting any info from that, or is it just like a game?
So, I got into iRacing when I was 10 or 12. Which was only yesterday. But it's so. For my deal is you get a visual feel for the track you're going to. They've done a real good job at the visuals as far as, bumps in the track, marks on the track, lines on the track, and kind of the visual feel of banking and rolling off into the corner. But some people say, you can actually feel the race car. But in my mind, if you're not actually sitting in the race car and you can feel springs moving, trailing arms, pulling back and forth, it's a visual feel, and I treat it. It's bad to say, I kind of treat it too much like a video game because it's, even their description is it's an online simulation. Mm-hmm. So, I use it to get a visual feel, but when I log into there, I'm going to play a video game. There's some people though that take it real serious. They have iRacing leagues that I think the actual national championship pays $10,000 to win. You get a ring just like the Cup drivers do. Mm-hmm. But
hell, that one kid got a seat, right? In one of the Gibbs cars?
Was it Ty Majeski?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he drove twice for Roush.
Oh, Roush, sorry. But that was an iRacing gig, right?
Yeah. Well, he wore him out the week before at Gateway in a super late model. I mean, just it was embarrassing.
I mean, is it accurate enough to where you can throw your setup that you're going to have in there that weekend?
So my experience from racing late model stocks on our racing and super late models versus the real deal, some of the stuff they do, there was no way to work in a race car. But I've heard kind of on the higher level Cup deal where they can get more data, from certain teams. I heard it's a lot closer, but at the same time, the racing physics that actually work in real life don't work on the game. So but again, I haven't been around Cup cars or anything like that to really know, but I've heard mixed reviews on that side.
Mm-hmm. So when you're going to like the GoPro and you're doing like these little road courses, are you getting a lot of information? So say that you get in an ARCA car at New Jersey, are you going to be able to learn anything to help yourself there?
So when we went to VIR last year in a K&N car, the only thing I've ever done is race GoPro, and it teaches you more or less to be real aggressive braking. Like you could take away, you really got to charge the corners road course racing and roll. It's like any other style of racing though. You really got to roll the center of the corner, be freewheeling real good. So there's certain aspects of it that you can take away from say GoPro to places like New Jersey in a K&N car, VIR in a K&N car, or the places ARCA goes in road course racing. But at the same time, I feel like the only way you're going to get experience in big cars, for big cars at road courses, you're to actually get in there and race them. Because anytime you race, you're going to learn something and get better if you're, if you realize what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. How's it like hanging out with the Venturinis?
They're, they're typical Chicago style people. That's for sure. They, Miss Kathy loves to cook. Billy's mom, and they're real good people. They're there's no real good way to describe them. They're just real good people that love to eat, and
they're Italians.
Yep.
Get behind that.
Yeah,
100%.
I've did all kinds of ARCA races with them for over the past 8 years. If you make Mama happy, you're pretty well set. Big Bill, love the man to death. Little Bill, he's given me 6 of my 9 ARCA wins. So I love working with those guys, even all the way down to Tommy Venturini. He's a trip. But yeah, they're real good people. They love racing, and they take a lot of pride in their racing. A lot of people say this or that about them, and they really take it personal because it's their family business. And the one thing you have to look forward to is if you win a race, go ahead and say the tradition.
Oh yeah. So if you win a race in a Venturini car, just be ready for Big Bill to come give you a big old kiss on the lips. And, not going to lie, a kiss on the lips in victory lane's always nice. But when you have a older age, full beard guy coming at you, it's gonna be a little bit sketchy. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of looking forward to it. You're
going to be on like a who's who list.
Look who has won in a Venturini car and what they've gone on to do.
Yeah, you're going to be on a who's who list. If you kiss Big Bill, hey,
good things are coming.
That's good company.
It's not the kiss of death.
No, it's the
breath of life.
It is. It really is. So when's your next? They only have one race left?
One more. It's at Kansas.
Kansas, yeah. What do you got planned for next year? Are you going to be back in one of their cars or?
It's going to be the typical driver answer. We have a couple things in the works. We're trying to get sponsorship together for the full season. We've had some, I guess, good leads, I guess you could say, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to getting back in one of Billy's cars. I really like everyone over there. Bunch of good people, bunch of friends work over there that I know, and there's real good, like you said, real good people. They take pride in their stuff and they want to win. So, but I gotta see what the silly season brings me. At some point, unfortunately, sponsors kind of take over to choose on where you get to go.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it was my choice. They would definitely be right up there on the list to go race for them.
And obviously, being back in a K&N car, or, getting many races as you can. Do you feel that you're ready for a truck or an Xfinity car? Obviously, the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's, any driver, it's going to be yes. But realistically, I don't think Nationwide or Xfinity is now in the picture because I've ran 6 races now where I've done pit stops and we've done decent. When you run an Xfinity season, you go to literally every big track. And I feel like, realistically, trucks are the next step. They're not like any other racing car you're going to drive.
Mm-hmm.
They're a big old cab that punches a big hole in the air. Arrow's totally different, but you learn the racetracks you're going to with people kind of, I don't want to say people your skill level, but you have a ton more rookies versus veterans in a truck series compared if you go to Xfinity, you have people like Brendan Gaughan who've run Xfinity longer than I've been alive that are going to be there. So you're racing a ton more veterans, which is going to make it that much more harder to win. But at the same time, you get the case of, people like Eric Jones that just jump right in there and, their second, third race out, they're up front almost wanting to win. People like Ryan Preece, his second race, he won.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, if you get the opportunity, you gotta seize it because, it's not every day someone's knocking on your door and asking you to drive their Xfinity car, especially if it's a good team. But, if it was me, if I could have a solid plan, I would love to, take a journey into a pretty good truck ride.
Is there one that you're kind of eyeing, just like, oh man, I would love to be driving the...
Honestly, I would actually like to race for the guys over at MDM again. They were I love all those guys over there with our K&N season last year, and their truck program has they have real solid, good new trucks. Shane Huffman crew chiefing on the box, which he's a real seasoned, good veteran crew chief. And, they're a relatively new team, so it's not like you're getting in a case with KBM where if you go jump in the 18 truck and you don't perform, well, then there's no variable. You're the variable. It's like, Kyle can get in there and go win by half a track and lap the whole field. Or, you get a KBM Toyota driver that's over there as your teammate winning left and right. So, it's a little bit of a strategy deal. You're in a new team. They want to win. They don't have set standards to where, it's like, oh, last year we had William Byron who won 7 races. You're in the same stuff and you're running 5th. You're with a team that you can set that benchmark for the next driver and help them grow, and they'll help you grow.
That MDM ride ain't bad. I mean, Bubba drove right past them.
Their stats, that whole team as an organization.
Brandon Jones was wearing out Kyle Busch in that truck a couple times.
Their whole stats, like at the beginning of the year, they won every race that they entered as a company. Like what? I don't know what they won. Like what, 4 series?
Yeah, they won. They won like the first 3 ARCA races they were in, and like the first like 5 K&N races. Or they were dominating at the beginning of the year. Every race they were in, they still are, but when they unloaded, they were the car to beat, and they didn't get beat.
Not just their win percentage, but their finish percentages are crazy. I mean, if you get a chance to look up those stats online, that's definitely the place to be.
I worked with Wendy. She was our design and decal vinyl specialist / supplier. She made it very easy to get anything. You could call her 7 o'clock. Hey, we just sold this. I need it by 9 a.m. in Morrisville. And it was never like, it was like, okay, I got you covered. She'd send it with Shane, walk down the street, go get it. Then we head out in the car. We're packed up and heading somewhere.
So you're doing a decal business, right? That's what you said?
Yeah. I worked at a decal shop for a while back home, Studio 10 Wraps, and it's a personal friend, went and helped him out, and so I got to get my feet wet in designing. I actually wound up becoming a designer for him, and earlier this year, since I'm living up in Mooresville full time, bought a small printer laminator deal, kind of just as a for my personal cars. Whatever I go race, it's like if I need a set of names for a car, I'm going to race for someone, print them out. And one thing led to another, and now it's like I'm up to 4 o'clock every morning doing decals for people.
That's awesome.
So
that's some serious money. I know what like a wrap for a cup car is what, like $3,000?
Yeah,
it's not
some serious money.
Yep, and overhead's not that bad either. You got, especially someone like Wendy's case or my case where you work from home. Your electrical's paid for because it's where you're living, and like a roll of vinyl and laminates like anywhere from $200 to $500, and you can print 4 or 5 race cars on it. So I mean, income to outcome's definitely a good deal.
Damn, I think we got space over here. We can start doing that over here in the corner. Start sponsoring our own deal.
Yeah.
I got a platform. I can advertise all this stuff. This is going to be great.
That's awesome. You got your own deal, and you kind of have that foresight, I mean, it makes everybody's life easier when the driver shows up with his own decals. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
I would do please. Can you spread that around? You're going to set the standards here. You're going to change the game.
Start a trend. He's his own PR guy. He does his own decals.
I mean, yeah, I at some point I wanted to start consulting, but he's kind of already beat me to it.
Oh yeah, that deal is definitely nice. It's like when we're going to Kentucky. Christopher Bell runs Chicago. Won Chicago in the car.
That was crazy. Yeah. He was on Xbox mode. Holy restart. Yep. Like what? He was like 8th or something like that. They said that the caution came out and they had tires left.
Yeah,
or something
4 tires in the pits.
Yeah. So they were the only ones with fresh tires. And I know a couple guys that are on that pit crew, and they're like, we're the only one with tires. Like, this could be crazy. And sure enough, they dropped that green flag, and he went to the high side, right past everyone. I was sitting over here on the couch. I was like, oh, shit. Go. Because I know how much that race means
to the Venturinis.
Yeah. I mean, they don't care where else they win, but they got to win Chicago. That's a big deal for them.
Yeah. It's like Bill has a slushy machine, too, and the guys at the shop are telling me Slushy machine turned into a margarita and pina colada machine after the race.
That's what I heard. They're like, oh, we got the slushy machine. We need to go over to the ABC store.
Oh yeah, they said there was like, their whole, both sides of the family were there, and it was like super wild. Like everyone was talking about it, and it was crazy. They went from almost going a lap down to winning the race.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's like they hit pause on, NASCAR 2003, turned the sitting down to easy, and he was just like, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. And it was
speaking from experience there.
Yeah, speaking from experience. You got to win those races somehow online too. So, but that was definitely cool to see because it put a boost of confidence on my deal. Same car, going to a similar cookie cutter track as people say, but it's like we went in there. I actually pulled the winning decals off that car and wrapped it myself, and it's like we got in there for practice. There's still dried up Gatorade and freaking confetti everywhere, and I'm pretty sure some people left some slushies in there too, man.
That's awesome. What's the name of it? What's the name of your decal business? I mean, do you want to advertise it?
It's Design 29. It's like I don't have nothing on social media. Kind of do the same thing the Huffmans do. Just it's like if someone needs something, just hit me up on Facebook or something.
Okay,
I like it.
Yeah,
simple. So what was the first Cup race you went to?
So there forever before we really started racing full time, we were season ticket holders at Bristol for both, the spring race and the fall race, or however it wound up being. So first one that I could really remember sitting through and not falling asleep with the earphones on is Bristol. So, and it was actually the year it snowed out, and I believe they were throwing snowballs at Kurt Busch when he won. Isn't that who won?
Yeah.
Because they got in a snowball fight with everyone. So
that was 2007
ish.
6.
It was still the Nationwide Series.
Yeah. So you would have been. Wait, how old were you?
If it was 2006, I was 7. But I know for a fact we've been going there since I was like 2, but that's the first one I really remember.
Mm-hmm.
Have you raced at Bristol yet?
Yeah, actually, I've ran there 4 times now. 2 times in a NASCAR Tour Modified, and 2 times in a K&N car.
Wow.
So
that place has to be pretty wicked at a modified.
It is. You're literally wide open for qualifying in the first 10 laps of the race. It's wicked.
What's your number one? Let's go top 3. Top 3 tracks you haven't ran at yet.
I was just getting ready to ask that.
Damn it.
It's okay.
Beat you to it.
It's fine. It's your question now.
Top 3 tracks I haven't ran at would be, number 1 would have to be Daytona.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if that counts because I tested there. Does testing count, or does it have to be a race?
No, we'll go
testing at Daytona.
Yeah.
Well, that is kind of a big deal.
For that, well, yeah, just because you're trying to get what?
Have you tested at Daytona?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
but I see that being is like, okay, left. I mean, you're not in the draft. I mean, once you get in the draft, then it's like a whole other animal. But what did you test there?
Actually tested Venturini car. We actually did get to get in the draft a little bit and all because we had me and Noah Gregson were fastest by almost a second over the field. It was in the draft. Like we were all drafting, and it was pretty bad because I think they almost wanted to confiscate the cars after the test, but open test, so you could kind of.
Yep. What's the feeling compared to being out there on a single car run to being in the? I mean, is it literally 2 different feels?
So the best way to describe it is single car run. It's like you're going down 85, just putting along. It's like clear traffic. It's like going down 85 at 2:00 in the morning. Just you don't get no feel of air in the car. But the second you get in the draft, it's same deal. You're going down 85, but you're tucked up under an 18-wheeler. Your car is darting left and right. You get you can feel it moving around, and it's it almost feels like someone's on each side of your car trying to tip it over, just shaking it. And like there's so much, that's when every little crack and stuff opens up. You get air coming in the car. You can, Adele Senior quote, you can feel the air, people moving around you. It's, to an average person, to be a real uneasy feeling, but
yeah, because you're almost like holding the wheel straight, but you're still
rocking. You're
still moving.
Yeah, it's sketchy. It makes you want to go and pull those belts a little bit tighter when you get in it, and then you really got to trust who you're around too, So it's like,
Yeah.
you get a guy out there that's inexperienced, and I imagine this is how these people felt racing around me at Talladega. Some guy coming from a short track to a super speedway. It's like there's a guy that's kind of iffy. Then you're just like, man, I don't. You kind of don't want to be around him, but at the same time, it's like you're stuck in traffic. You're wide open. You're sitting there, just cruising along, and no matter what you do, you can't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. And your car's getting pushed around. It feels like you're wrecking the whole time, but at the same time, you can't do nothing about it because you're literally all out.
You're just stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck, more or less.
It's like a helpless feeling. It's like a scary, helpless feeling.
It is very, very helpless.
Okay, so Daytona's number one. What would number two be?
Number two would have to be number two on top tracks I would like to go to and race. I've raced so many places now, it's hard to tell, but I guess Atlanta would be one hometown track.
There you go.
A lot of history there, and just like to go there and run in the top three, so my family could come watch me race. That'd be more or less on the meaningful side than just full on want to race that track, because that's a cookie cutter track. So you kind of race one, you race them all. Mm-hmm. But number three would have to be actually that road course track in Canada. The Canadian Tire track where the trucks run. Yeah, that looks like a real fun track. It's not an overly technical road course track, but at the same time, it does. It looks real cool. So I'd like to run there too.
I will say that the other road course in Montreal, the Circuit de Villeneuve.
Oh man,
that
was the best.
That is the most beautiful racetrack that I've ever been to. It's on an island, basically, or like a little peninsula, but it's on an island, and like the water, like you go across to like a little bridge, and the water's crystal clear. The weather's always beautiful. I mean, Montreal's beautiful. If you ever get a chance to go up there, I mean, do they still go up there? They don't, right?
No, there was an issue with the city. They didn't want to pay the NASCAR fee anymore, and they pulled the race. That was like one of the best ones to watch on TV.
Yeah, that was my favorite. It was there in Vegas, where my favorite destination tracks to go to was those two, obviously because Vegas. But Montreal was so sick to go to.
The thing I like about Vegas is there's just a very passionate fan base out there. Like they love it.
You would think that everyone would be on sensory overload, would have something better to go to, but that place usually is pretty packed. The Neon Garage is always really cool.
I've had great fan experiences there. Good fans asking good questions, super respectful, just into it. Like, hey, what adjustments are you guys making? Or, hey, where do you think that's going to run? Like, just more than, hey, come sign this. Which I'll do. We'll line them up. We'll get y'all guys all day. But, when I have somebody who's like clearly like this is what they spend their free time in doing.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes my life easier. It's like, man, like I want to give you guys everything I can so you can take it away and go tell everybody else about it.
So, out of all the things that you have driven, what's your favorite thing to drive?
Would definitely have to say NASCAR Tour Modified. In terms of if you're a true racer and everything you know about racing, this car screams full on race car. It's a 14-inch tire, 2-inch ride height, which is low all the time.
Yeah, that's on the ground.
Considering, big cars are 4 to 5-inch ride heights with no fenders, big Nerf bars, which are meant for beating and banking. Not like fiberglass fenders where if you barely touch them, they break. And more power than you can stand compared to tire. And, just all the spoiler you can handle and all the aero you can handle because they don't really have no rules on the body. That's like, to me, a true definition of a race car. You look at those, the next closest thing to them are like Indy cars or F1 cars. That's the shape and look they have. And just to race them, to get raw speed out of them, you just have to really manhandle them and drive them. You don't have to be so much dependent on an engineer or a crew chief because you have so much tires, so much motor, so much air going in positive directions. It's just, if you think you can flat foot it, you got to go out there and try it, because if not, the guys who have been racing those things since they've been toddlers are going to go do it and beat you. And it's, even on a competitive side, everyone up north breathes, sleeps modifieds. Mm-hmm. It's like, if they don't want to go NASCAR racing, 9 out of 10 of them want to grow up and run the NASCAR wheel and modified tour. Mm-hmm. So they've run them. Same deal with the Truexes. They ran modifieds. And so the competition level is, I experienced it myself running a season and a half in them. You'll go and race against guys that have ran these racetracks, same deal, longer than I've been alive. So going there, it's like if you run good in those, you've really done something, because they're true race cars, tons of competition, and you just gotta balls to the wall the whole time in them.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they don't televise those more than they do, because that's a fun race. They really can't get away from each other when they're out there. Was it New Hampshire? We always see them race at. Yep. Bristol's the other one.
They actually blow those cars in a wind tunnel for New Hampshire.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. The draft is so important up there. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And then Charlotte, they just did.
They do that season
little track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's their finale?
It was at one point.
Yeah, when before they merged the North and the South series, which is similar to K&N East and West. Before they merged them, the Southern Series would end at Charlotte, and now it's actually the race I'm going to this weekend.
Yeah,
they end at Thompson.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Have you ever driven at Bowman Gray?
Yeah, actually, the team I raced for, and I regret this because a bunch of people love that place. Eat, leave, sleep. Same deal. Eat, sleep, breathe it. They it's a circus, man. It's the most. I don't know the correct word to start. The most rigged racing ever.
Dude, it's so true. Everything he's saying is absolute truth. There is a reason that place is sold out every single Saturday night. From the time that it opens at late spring to late summer, there's sections of people. Like, did you ever wreck Tim Brown or Burt Myers or anything like that? Because if so, there would have been a million Twitter posts all coming from Winston-Salem talking about how bad they hate this kid. That's not an exaggeration.
So when I ran there, full season I ran there with that team I was with, the 79 Hillbilly Racing car. I got into it with, I guess you could say, the real old, worn-out veterans of the track. Since it was so played out, you kind of couldn't even pass there. I wrecked Ronnie Clifton, which he drives a 66 car. So automatically all the guys from the Street Stock series hated me that ran there because he was kind of the guy they looked up to. And then the next weekend I went out and everyone picked on me because I'm half the age to, a 16th of the age of everyone that ran there. So I wrecked Lee Jeffries, and he was the oldest guy in the series. Is that
the 77?
Yep, he ran me through the grass. So the next corner, I just spun him right on around. So his wife, I felt bad. She came walking up in her walker trying to fight me, and I'm like, at first I was like, does she want to cross the pit or what? Then she started cussing at me, and I'm like, all right then, and I'm like, I'm 14. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. So I started slowly walking away. I didn't have to run, but the biggest one I've ever wrecked there was Junior Miller. Is that the 69 car? Yeah. So it was end of the season. We were actually decent in points, even though we missed the race. So I was trying to get up to second in points, and man, he was just. And I was actually going for my only Bowman Gray win there. They finally I was getting on the promoter's side, so he actually. My qualifying time actually got a half a second better this week. So, started second. I was running to him, ran him down from a straightaway, which is only 2 car lengths there. But I caught him, and it's my man started mirror driving. I bumped him, and it's so you can't pass there. He started running halfway down the straightaway, which blocks the whole straightaway. So finally, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. This guy, needs to go eat some tapioca pudding at the K&W. So I sent him where he needed to go, and he did this big, massive burnout. It actually broke the right front strut off my car, so I had to come to the pits. And I get out, and this guy is literally doing donuts in the infield, going backwards trying to find me. And you want to talk about a big fight. Like, his whole crew stopped, like, was in front of the car. I was stuck in there. My crew was on the other side of the pits, and they're all screaming, cussing at me, telling me how they're going to, kick my ass and wish I'd never shown up. And I'm like, this is the moment. I don't want to go out this way, but if I pass away in a race car, I wouldn't figure it'd be from getting the shit kicked out of me in the pits. So,
being a minor,
yeah, and Bowman Gray fans take all that stuff serious. I know for the next 8 months, I think I was getting threats on Facebook saying, saying all types of stuff, and everywhere I went in the modified, I'd either get praised for wrecking the king of modifieds, Southern modifieds, or there'd be people leaning through the fence shooting me the bird. So, it was mixed results, but same deal. If you're gonna go play in the circus, you gotta deal with the clowns too.
Yeah, but hey, they know who you are.
Right. That's the best part. Like,
They know who you are.
Yeah.
he didn't show up to make friends.
They say, and driving the 18 M&M's Toyota, Kyle Busch, ooh, like,
He loves that.
yeah, it's better than driver of the 33, David Pruitt.
Crickets.
Hi. That's, I would rather have everyone boo me than complete crickets.
Oh,
Was that you were in the 79 car, right?
yeah.
Is that the one that James Cervelli drove a couple years ago and got into it with Tim Brown?
Yeah, it's the same
Okay.
car because everyone on that crew has the rocket launcher T-shirts and everything, and part of the deal was kind of their gimmick is they paint the bumper neon orange, so when you hit someone, it leaves your mark on it, and that night that bumper was super braced up, and we destroyed that thing, and I think I gained on Facebook on my not my personal page, but my racing page, I went from like 2,000 followers to 32,000. so that was big. But yeah, they they played the gimmick well. It definitely worked. It gained fans, and but same time it wasn't racing. You're out there playing bumper cars with $100,000 race cars. Real expensive playtime right there. That's for
Right.
sure.
I mean, they call it the Madhouse for a reason.
Yeah, I have yet to go. You need to.
Man,
I'm going to get the family together.
it's the best $10
and
you're going to spend.
You're going to be our race day tour guide, just like you were this weekend.
Oh man, I got you covered. We'll do a whole historic thing. We'll go down to Old Salem. We'll check
Yeah.
out the old stuff.
Yeah,
we'll
dude.
get Brady some wine.
Make it the whole
the
day.
whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you got to bring your PBR with you and your cutoff.
Oh yeah,
top.
no sleeves.
No sleep. Okay,
And cut off shorts.
I got that
Yep.
covered. I got drawers full of cut off t-shirts. Second Amendment.
Did you actually wear sleeve T-shirts when you were there? Did you have to? Did you play the? Were you a race car driver there, or were you a Bowman Gray race car driver while you were there?
I was an actual race car driver. I showed up. I went from this, my racing and super late models. I was pretty well established in that, so I showed up there. Same deal. I worked on the race car, so it wasn't like I was in a polo with nice jeans. But I showed up looking very presentable, and then the guys beside us are sitting there with their beer guts hanging out with no shirts, shotgun and Coors Lights, and then you got me over here, this real clean cut kid. And then to the other side of us, you got all the old timers of Bowman Gray sitting there in their rockers. Same deal, drinking PBR. So, it was kind of, I was out of my element, but at the same time, you would think you'd be in your element at the racetrack, but it was like, it's like you were showing up to a beer drinking competition with your race car.
Yeah, I mean,
No joke. There's cup haulers parked there.
really.
Yes.
I mean, you're stepping into a cage fight when you're at a place like that.
Yeah.
Those guys, that's all they ever do. And they show up ready to fight, ready to race, ready to throw down. I just know just because I've watched it. I watched videos of it. They had the show, Madhouse. Yeah. So everyone was subtitled, just like, was it Swamp People?
Yes.
It's the same thing. But yeah, I've yet to go, and you need to take me.
We can do that.
definitely going to go.
I would be happy to do that.
So the turn modified car is your favorite thing to drive.
Yep.
What's your favorite place to race that you've been? Not where you want to go. What's your favorite place that you've been at now?
So my all-time favorite track would have to be Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for multiple reasons. The history of the track, a bunch of great people cut their teeth there. Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Sr. raced there a lot back, before Dale kind of got into the real big NASCAR scene when he was racing late models. Sterling Marlin still runs there. That's another crown jewel of getting to run there. You get to race against Sterling Marlin. And just the track itself, man, it's an old, worn-out track, kind of a hickory-style racetrack, but it's a 5/8 mile. Mm-hmm. And when you run there, they pack the stands every weekend. They run there 8 times a year, minus real big shows like the All-American 400 I just ran.
Yeah, that's what I've been there for.
But
been there for that one.
When you run there, man, it's just you get the sense of true Saturday night racing. You're under the lights. You had this crowd full of people, and the fans are like nothing else. It's like it's a little bit like Bowman Gray, but a lot more clean cut. Yeah, a lot more teeth. Yeah, it's not a non-drinking section there. It's a small drinking section, but it's just great people that run the facility, and I guess it's partially because I've had so much success there too. I think I was up until I ran a full season there last year, I'd won every race I'd raced there, minus one, and I was leading that race when the motor blew up. So,
dang.
But it's last year we ran the full season, almost won the points, so I kind of established myself as a local there. So it's like there's no local tracks in Georgia, so the closest is like Tennessee or South Carolina, and there's no straight rail stuff in South Carolina, which is what we run: straight rail, super late models, pro late models. But that track is just it's a multi-groove track. And if you know how to work different grooves, know what they do, you can fix your race car by not being perfect, by moving grooves. And it's just, there's a bunch of things that go into making that track my favorite. Mm-hmm. And it's just, even when you go to race there the night before you can go to Nashville downtown, because it's literally, it's like downtown is 1.5 miles away from the track.
Wow.
So it's just, it's everything about it so cool.
Lots of talent in Nashville.
Yeah, we had a truck race or Xfinity race there one time, and being from Southern Indiana, my best friend, we had his bachelor party after the race. So I think it was the Xfinity race, and then I drove home. That was the first time that I'd ever been out down there, and it's a whole other place. Nash Vegas.
Nash Vegas.
That's funny. Even their Snapchat filter now has Nash Vegas on it
Nash
too.
Vegas.
It's legit now. It's a 100% true name.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you got going forward? You have the ARCA finale in Kansas. You got the Snowball Derby.
Yep.
You got the general.
So the
Governors.
Yeah, the Governor's Cup. So this weekend I go run the World Series of Stock Car Racing, which is the Modified Tours finale at Thompson Motorsports Park.
Okay.
And then I go to Hickory for the I think they call it the Mega Meltdown. It's a real big race. Someone past the Pro All-Star Series is just put on for this year. And then go to Concord for the North-South Shootout, which is a real prestigious event.
Yeah.
That's awesome if you haven't been, by the way.
Mm-mm.
Awesome.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. I would recommend going to that one too.
Okay. Well, we need to go to that one. Write that down.
I probably need to go to that one too.
Okay.
Then the Governor's Cup and the Snowball Derby. So
Snowball. I love the Snowball.
It's just a very pure race. It's just pure talent. You get it on merit. There's no games. There's nothing else. You either show up and you qualify and you make your way in, or you don't.
Yeah, and then once the race starts, I've always put it as this, that the race is broken up into 3. A third of the field is going to break. A third of the field is going to crash. And then the last third fight it out the last 20 laps or whatever.
Like, how many Cup pit crew members go down there?
It's
insane.
It is the most fun. I was going to say the funnest. It is the most fun race as a pit crew guy, because you fly down there or you drive down there. Your season's over. It's the last paycheck for a lot of the contract guys. So it's your last paycheck. You go down to Pensacola. My favorite restaurant in the world, McGuire's, is down there. I love that place. Like, I can't go this year, but I want to go down there just to watch the race and to eat at McGuire's. Like, those two things are big. But it's so cool because you get like this weird mix of all these pit crew guys. So you'll get the Gibbs guys mixed with the Ganassi guys, or you'll get the Hendrick guys mixed with the Roush guys. You get like these weird, like all-star type, like weird, like pick'em crews. And it's really
a fantasy pit crew.
Yeah. It's really fun, really cool. I was fortunate enough to win back in 2012, which was crazy. But that it's so much fun. It's so laid back. You don't have to wear fire suits. I mean, you can if you want to. A lot of the guys are starting to. I suggest wearing a helmet. I don't think you have to. I did. But it's way more laid back, and you get that big mixing of everyone that I really like. Unfortunately, I ain't gonna be able to go this year, but
is that your contract?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't want us getting hurt.
You could be like last year, though. Remember with
What was that, the rainouts?
Yeah, remember you guys drove down.
Yes, we drove down. It rained.
Got to hang out for 2 days and go home.
Yeah. That was fun though.
Did you get paid?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
All that.
Yeah. I was on. I was on his crew.
Oh.
Yeah, but,
Awkward.
I don't think I'd be on the podcast right now if he didn't.
Like, oh no, he owes me money.
I should probably ask these questions before the podcast.
No, you're fine. It's better content that way. Better content. Okay, so just to kind of run down everything else, I don't know if you've seen the video of Martin Truex Jr.'s victory lane.
Man, that was tough to watch.
It was rough. I hope he wins. I mean, after watching that, like I know the whole story. I know the whole deal. Cancer's affected my family with both my mom and my dad. But for him to run and race at such a high level with all that going on with your wife, that speaks bounds, to him, and just shows everything that, that he's going through. Some people didn't like how she kind of pried at him.
She's got a job to do.
She's got a job to do. Let it out. You need that personal deal there, but I mean, we're not in it. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
But I'm definitely rooting for him just because of that. Just to see that whole deal. There ain't going to be a dry eye in the place if he wins.
What I don't think a lot of people realize is they hang their own bodies. They build their own, like, parts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, you assemble, with Gibbs stuff, and you have, like, a baseline to work off of. But, like, all the trick stuff, that's all their, proprietary knowledge and parts and pieces. So,
yeah.
Well, they certainly have all the good stuff to build off of. Like, end of the day, Fernand Trudeau is out tricking the rest of the field, and they got a guy who can put all of that 110% into the machine. So
absolutely, and with all the off the track stuff going on,
right?
It just speaks.
Not to mention they're in Denver.
Yeah, yeah. There's that. They're not strategically placed on the map at all. They say it kind of works out because you got Kansas. Some of those, it's about the same. They say.
I mean, the West Coast stuff's not as nearly as bad.
No, but then they've came to Charlotte and handed it to everyone. The only race team that's not here,
right,
just shows up and says, "My trophy."
Well, that's not the only time he's done that too.
No. What was it? What
was it? This race last year where he led the whole?
Yeah, all but 4 laps.
Just dominant fashion.
Just took it. This is okay. You guys are following me, and that's the end of it.
Let me know how that race for second goes, guys.
Yeah,
I'll already be in victory lane by the time you guys get lap back.
Yeah, so definitely would like to see him pull it through, just because that story. Seeing that's really, really cool, and having him to pull that together. with all the stuff that's going on, and then fighting for a championship, and it's just crazy to see. And I definitely hope them the best. I know that she's relapsed this time. I hope that all the treatment goes good, everything, and she pulls out of it and she's fine. So what else went down? The Jimmy Johnson out of the pit stall thing.
So explain that a little bit.
NASCAR has a deal to where their rule is you have to be in the box, but it varies because you can have the right rear sticking out and you're fine. If just the very tip of the splitter is over the front line, you have to back up. If your rear tires are on the back line, you have to pull forward. So you have to be in the box. Any equipment, even to the point to where if you're out of the box and you take wheels off, you have to put them back on, roll the car back, then take them off, and then change the tires. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have to be in the box. If any equipment leaves, if your gun gets hung on the car and you drag it out, that's equipment out of the box. If the tire carrier leaves the adjustment wrench in the window, that's equipment out of the box. If the gas can gets hung, that's equipment out of the box. If the jack gets stuck underneath the car, that's equipment out of the box. All those things, once the car leaves, it's out of the box. So I guess apparently the tire changer missed a lug nut. Jackman sent him. Away he went. Crew chief said, stop. Started to back up a little bit. Tire changer went over there, zipped the lug nut on. No, so they didn't get a penalty after the race and sent him. You're doing work. You have equipment physically in the other people's box. Your stuff's over there. So should it have been a penalty? Yes. 100% should have been a penalty. Back all the way up to where the nose is past the line to where you're supposed to be, just like before it even starts. But I get the explanation saying that, their work was already done. They was doing a safety thing. Yeah, I get that's a pretty good explanation. But as far as the rule goes, not only did he have the nose out, all 4 tires were in the other stall. So at that point, it should have been a penalty. And because it wasn't a penalty, he didn't go to the end of the longest line. And he just lost some spots and ended up finishing 3rd.
Yeah.
So,
True Jimmy Johnson fashion.
Yeah. So that could save their season.
Right.
That could make or break it. Something like that can make or break the season. That stops him from, I don't know what the longest line was at that point of the race.
So how do you like making pit stops?
I'm not gonna lie, man. My first pit stop was a super speedway deal, which was easy. You come in, don't slide the tires, fuel, and go. The next one was Michigan, and I really pride you guys for your work because when you have a 3,200-pound stock car coming in there at 50 miles an hour, and when the driver gets scared, when the jackman comes around, and you feel like you're going to hit him with your right front, but that's apparently a good stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's nerve-wracking because you have 5 guys over the wall. Am I right?
6.
6 guys over the wall that have their life in your hand more or less because, you could really hurt or kill someone if you mess up on your pit stop coming in, and let alone, you could be sitting there jacked up and someone hit your car and you could crush someone's leg or something. So they're sketchy, but at the same time, they're also it's like a dance more or less. All these guys, they work every day on it, and it's really cool to watch it. And it's also a major factor in the race that could make or break your race, just like Zach just said on the Johnson deal. You come in, you go over the line, or you pit too short, then you lose 3 seconds. 3 seconds might be 12 spots if the whole field comes in. On the ARCA deal, it might not be that much because you have such an array of crew guys. You might have a lower team with their same track guys crewing, over the wall. And then you'll get guys like our team, Venturini's, or MDM, or Cunningham, that'll get cup guys to come crew. So overall, they're fun and really stressful at the same time because there's so much on your shoulders in the car for, just well-being of the crew guys and doing your job right. And then at the same time, I know their job has to be real stressful because, you can't leave a lug nut loose. You can't miss the jack post. You got to make sure you get all the fuel in the car. So there's that one pit stop, 2 pit stops on our deal is as important, as the whole 100 lap, 200 lap race.
Wow, you put it that way, straight from the driver's mouth.
Yeah,
no pressure, Zach.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that because you don't really hear that often. I mean, the biggest thing for me, what I see in a driver is the straighter you can get in the box, and me as a jack man, just stop.
Yep.
If you want to stop short, stop short. If you want to stop long, but just get it stopped. It's when you roll, do a slow roll, or do you do a double stop? That's what really screws up. Not just me, but the tire change. Yeah, like if everything slides in right, like you can gain a full second just by having the driver get into the box. Like it just sets everything else up because usually the car that we practice on comes in exactly how the perfect situation that we would want it to be in. So he comes in, slides in, stops right where he's supposed to. We'll throw different curveballs when we go to a short track or when we go to a road course and we're going backwards or whatever. Just to work on different things, nosed out, nosed in, stop long, stop short. Just getting in, getting stopped good, sliding the tires can even help the front tire changer because the wheel stops turning so they can see the pattern before it stops. So they already know where that first lug nut is. They can see it. But that really sets the tone. A good right side really sets the tone because after that, this is basically just a stationary stop. And then you're just traveling around to the left side, changing tires over there, and you're done. And then you're going. That and the big thing is being ready to go when you drop. If I drop that jack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drop, go, and you just sit there, that is the worst thing for a pit crew guy. It's like, man, it's like, oh, we just bust off a good stop, and you're just sitting there. Go. Not you, but, it's like you're adding time to the actual pit stop. It's like if you would have gone as soon as I would have sent you, we might have gained 2, 3 extra spots, but because you sat there, that just kills everything.
So what's that like waiting for that second jack drop?
So, like he said, there's still a lot that goes into it, and it's like even when you're sitting there, your wheel straight, foot on the brake is always what I've always heard, and it's definitely true. But you got to know when he drops it, get off the brake, put it in first gear. Because, if he comes up and you put it in gear then you turn the rear wheels just a little bit and then the lug pattern's off. So the guy's having to play catch up with that. Or, saying, dude, you could break his finger or something if it's in the wrong spot. So waiting for that jack drop is nerve-wracking on my end because I'm new to it. And my deal, too, I'm on a 7-race deal. I don't get to work with these guys every weekend. So when he drops a jack, I don't necessarily know if the guy directly behind me is putting a round in for the spring or the track bar or, what's going on. So I have to be 100% confident that when, say if Zach was my jack guy, that when he drops the jack, that there's no one has anything in the window where there's not a single lug loose or nothing. So it's nerve-wracking, but I could definitely see after running half a season with the same crew, kind of getting in their swing of their routine, going with everything, it would help. So nervous is the key word right there. Word of the day, nervous.
And I've definitely heard that from like feedback, if we're having an off day with a driver that we've normally been with, like they'll come across the radio and say, hey, you guys are better than that. I can tell that your rhythm's off. Because they can hear, those guns are so loud now that they can hear exactly what corner, who messed up where, what happened where, so they can hear it all. So they know. And then you get with the guys that's been doing it for a while, they can actually count lug nuts and they know when that jack's going to drop on the left side. So they hear when those tire carriers slam those tires on, I mean, it sounds like someone just rear-ended the car. I mean, not just a thump, I mean, a boom. I mean, that right rear end in that car, it's boom. And then bop, 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 bop. As soon as you hear boom, then hey, okay, start to get ready. Okay, and there it goes. So you can hear it, and the driver really starts to pick up the RPMs right when the
So when do you know? When do you know to drop that jack on the left side?
After my rear tire carrier has given the sign, he'll point with his left hand when that rear tire changer is done, and I'm focused on the front tire changer when he hits his fifth one. Unless we're doing rounds after he hangs the tire, I got to check off on him, make sure he's got the wrench out, or if we're packing it full of fuel, then I got to look back at the gas man and make sure that he's done. But if it's just a normal stop, not waiting on fuel, no tape, no weird adjustments, I'm looking out of the corner of my right eye, waiting for a point, and as I'm watching the left front. So as he goes around 1, 2, 3, 4, so the tire changer that I have now ends at about 2 o'clock on his pattern, usually 2 to 3 o'clock on his pattern is the last one. So if you're looking at it, he'll do 6, 8, blah, 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 all the way around to where the last one will be over about 3 o'clock. So that's the one that I can see. That's the one that I'm focusing on. I see him hit his 5 lug nuts, drop and go. As I'm guiding the old left front tire back to the wall and have a hold of the jack with my right hand and making sure that everything's good. But I lean on the rear tire carrier to watch the rear tire changer to make sure that he's done. So I can't look 2 different ways at once. It's just too far. Like, it's just like that much out of my peripheral view that I just can't see it. But if I get the tire carrier in there to give me a good point, it makes a world of difference. And then as soon as that one's done, we're gone. It's like the front tire changer's still on that last lug nut, and I'm already starting to drop. So either he rides it down or he's just coming off of it. Gone. You got to cut that time down as much as you can. You're literally wasting time sitting there. If it's 0.00001, that's still
something that you gave everybody else.
Yeah, that's still something that you gave everybody else. Getting in and getting out for a driver is also really big, because you can have a 12-second stop in an ARCA race and get in shitty or get out shitty, and it might not even be your fault. You can get blocked in because those cars come in crazy and they open pit road before the field's all bunched together, so you get cars coming in way late and all kinds of shit. But that really makes or breaks getting in and getting out. Charging that pit box, getting in there, knowing where your timing lines are on pit road, knowing where you can gas it up or where you can't. That really makes the world of difference.
You ever play any of the dirty pit road games?
So in my position, crew chief I was with is Dave Liner. He crew chiefs 25 this year, and I believe he started halfway through last year. I've been lucky enough. Well, he always puts me in the first pit stall when we come in, if ideally, because the 25 is so high up in points. So my philosophy is if you're the first pit stop and 9 times out of 10 there's someone good right in front of you, I try to short pit so I can get out so I don't get blocked in. Now, say we're in a position to win and we really need to mess this guy's day up that's in front of us. We know what we need to do. The crew will know. We'll try to come in, not get out of the box like he was talking about earlier, but we'll try to make it real hard for him to swing around us, but not block us in. And actually at, where were we? Talladega, my first race. One of the Cunningham cars were pitted in front of us, and it was kind of a deal to try to get them separated. So we short pitted far out from the, I think the 22 couldn't really get out good. So we had him blocked in behind us because he actually had to back up, and that's what got us in front of him. And it was hard for the 77 to get around us. So there's definitely games to be played on pit road. But, 9 times out of 10, I don't like doing it because you starting to get in there weird. You can mess yourself up. You could put jack guy's life in danger, rear tire guy's life in danger, even the front tire guy's life in danger, because the guy in front of you, all he's worried about is getting in his pit stall. Same deal, charging it hard, getting in there and getting out. So
yeah, you're literally crowding the other teams while we're still doing our job. So it's even that much more tighter. If you want to see the Bowman Gray come out at a NASCAR race, get blocked in.
Yeah, you'll hear some explicit words get thrown, and I'm pretty sure pit crew guys all want to fight the driver that's doing that, because the crew guys, they can't blame them because they're just doing the stop, but the driver, they'll get mad at them. So at the same time, in the position I'm in, moving up too, those guys might be pitting me next year. So you don't ever know. Or in our case, since they get Excalibur crews, which Zach knows about Excalibur crews, they're in the ARCA deal, they kind of put new faces in there sometimes, depending on what team it is. So that guy that you put out in the middle of the track from the other crew might be your front tire changer in the next race. And if he doesn't like you, well, he's not going to go as fast. Either way, it's kind of bad to say, which, I've heard that happen before. Some people just, they're like, it's just this kid, he's here for 7 races. We can blame it on a bad stop.
Yeah.
On his side. But, you don't ever know.
Now, when you said the first stall that you guys normally pick, you're talking
43.
Yeah.
Yeah, 43, not number 1.
Yeah, so that was the old Mark Martin way. He always wanted to have the first pit stall because then he would never drive past it because he always knew that it was the first one that he came to. He wouldn't get lost in the mix. They always tried to get pit stall 43, the very first one that you come to. He always wanted to have that one because he would never drive past it. But the problem is, if you're running up front and you're the first one into that, you're done while people are still coming onto pit road. So you're pulling out into traffic. So you really have to listen to your crew chief, stop, go, clear one lane all the way to the grass or whatever. I mean, some of the places that the ARCA cars go, you're going down the middle of the racetrack, but Mobile,
Salem's tight.
Yeah, Salem's like that. What's the one up in Michigan? The little bowl.
Elko, maybe?
No, not Elko. Berlin.
Yes, Berlin's a very tight pit road.
Yeah, and one half pits one way, the other half pits on the other side. You just drive down the middle. There's no lights. It's dark. You got to put floodlights on your pit box to be able to see. It's pretty sketch. Wow. Yeah, so basically a bowl. There's not any straightaways, so it's just a bowl, and then the pit road is kind of splits the track in half, and one half of the field goes to the left to pit, the other half goes to the right to pit. So as being on the pit crew side, we got to know, because they'll go off of points. So they'll know early in the week, okay, we're going to be pitted on the left side, we're going to be pitted on the right side. So then we'll know while we're practicing to either do reverse stops or just a regular stop.
Wait, so you're saying there's a pit road that has stalls on both sides?
Yes. You go down the middle. So as you're standing there, you're looking at more pit stalls.
Right.
And if you're pitted on the right, you're doing a reverse stop.
That's got to be kind of a weird deal
if
for
you're
both you guys and the driver.
Yeah, and if you're pitted on the left side to the driver's left, you're doing a normal stop. If you're to driver's right, you're doing a backward stop.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's Mobile's like that. Berlin's like that.
So I believe Mobile, they actually went with you guys. They you do it kind of like in and out of pit road during practice. You come in, actually turn into, which I may be wrong because I didn't even, it's bad to say, a close friend of mine, Kel Gale, won the race, and I didn't even watch it. But I believe.
I think I might have been there for that one.
Yeah, it was with Eddie Sharper still racing because he won it for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the year they did it when he won it, you come in actually to the garage, but they had the trailers pulled back. Same deal, pit stalls on both sides, but you're actually making a lap around the inner circle, I guess you could say, because their pit road's just big enough to fit a car. You couldn't actually do a pit stop there, so they improvised more.
Yeah, so you're gonna go past the entrance of pit road down to the exit, turn, make a hard left into pit road, and then you come from that direction.
Wow!
And the pace car slows down, so nothing gets crazy, because everyone's going to take some time. So they get some really crazy stuff. And then you go to places like Toledo that have boxes the size of this table. So it's just kind of meh.
Where everyone's pitting at an angle.
Yeah. Everyone's getting blocked in. Everyone's right on top of each other. It gets pretty sketch. And then you go to the dirt races. Yeah. Springfield's one of them that you do that but that's a dirt track. And you come from the other way from the normal way, and you're pitted on the inside and the outside. Being on a pit crew in ARCA cars, it's an experience.
You're like a little tiger earning its stripes.
Yes, yeah. Like you definitely cut your teeth. You've definitely seen it all once you go through it, and the pit schools like Excalibur and the like. That's where those schools farm out their crews to, because K&N doesn't do pit stops. So it's all ARCA and then trucks and whatever. So you're really, as a pit crew member, you're really cutting your teeth in the ARCA series. But hey, man, I know you got to get going. We kind of went past your time there a little bit. But definitely appreciate you coming on. If anyone that's listening to this and isn't a follower of you, where can they find you at?
So on Twitter and Instagram, you can hit me up at Spencer Davis _29. On Facebook, give me a like at Spencer Davis Racing. You know, where I'm verified on all 3 pages, so very easy to find. You know, don't follow the fakes, follow the real deal.
You got fakes?
Well, you have. So I've been blessed and cursed with this name. There's not many race car drivers with the name Spencer, but a very famous singer is Spencer Davis. So you'll have like 20 musician pages, fan pages of him, and then there'll be, the little Spencer Davis Racing with a little blue check. And then, if you want to see my daily life, which I do post a lot of that on Twitter, you could also follow me on Snapchat, which is Spencer Davis 29. Usually it's me traveling or my dog. Yep. It's all cool. I try to stay active on there, so it's not like you're going to like a page and get 1 post a month. We do giveaways and stuff like that. So it's cool. It's worth the follow, I feel like.
There you go. I keep hearing the 29 right before we go. Was that your first number, or was that your dad's number, or?
Yep, that was my first number. Dad was 19, and I wasn't going to do 9 because Dawsonville.
Yeah.
So I was like 29. 29 sounds good. That's my birthday number. Huge fan of Kevin Harvick when I was little, 29. So I was always like, Richard Childress. And, so 29 just seemed to fit very well.
Do you have the pizza Bitmoji?
Yeah.
Is this you?
Yeah, that's me. Gotta love pizza.
I love pizza. I made pizza when I get home. I made pizza.
That's where he's headed.
Strictly because he was here.
He's ready to go eat some homemade pizza. It's like National Pizza Month or whatever they were saying.
Yeah, something like
every
that.
day is already taken. I think it's been National Dog Day like 3 times this year.
Yeah,
I swear. I always send it to my wife. It's like, it's National Dog Day again. So, all right. I definitely appreciate you coming on. You are our first driver. Our cherry has popped.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Been wanting to come on here for a while. I think we've been texting back and forth about it for 3 weeks now.
Yeah. Yep. Scheduling with drivers, I've figured out, takes a little bit of time. You guys are really busy, and you guys have your whole lives, and we're going to get this until this becomes the thing that me and him want it to be, and people realize what we're trying to do here, and then hopefully it'll get a little bit easier after that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're certainly a big part of that. We appreciate your time, man. That was good stuff. You had a lot of insight there, especially for a young guy. You really have a good head on your shoulders, so best of luck to you. Looking forward to having you back on here soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking for a driver to start following all the way up so they can say that they've been with him since the beginning, Spencer Davis is the guy. So, going to have the blog up really soon on the website, youngandpruitt.com. Follow us. Did you get any hashtags?
For what?
The blue shell bullshit.
Oh, no, I did not.
No one did
that. No, I'm kind of upset. Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's a previous episode reference. Hashtag blue shell bullshit. You get a hat from this guy signed by a very reputable driver. Yes. Not this one, but we can work that out after the show. But at Young and Pruitt on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me at JackmanZach on Instagram and Twitter.
Follow me at Tall Guy Turbo on Twitter and Instagram. And I think I'm going to have to start doing just a public Instagram because I'm getting some love on there. So
really?
So we're just going to go ahead and open that up.
About what? This or what?
Yeah, just random race people are adding me now. So I'm kind of like, okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay, I'm not Reddit famous yet, but let's get this man to his pizza.
All right. Big thanks to Spencer Davis. Thank you guys all for listening, and we'll be back next week, and see you guys.